Hi, thanks Abhimanyu for joining in. This is the first podcast, and uh, we are lucky to have you as a guest speaker. Significantly, 11 years of ESG, that's a long time, man. How does that experience feel like?
First of all, it's Abhimanyu, thanking Abhimanyu, for welcoming me here. And it's such a pleasure to be here and, share my 11 years of, nuances, I would say, you know, all the, nitty-gritties of, the career that it has taken me. And I'm so, been charged up to just, bring it all up here. And I'm really excited. Well, let's get it started.
Great. So, just to pick your brain and your uh, plethora of experience, hands-on working on ESG for 11 years. I think 11 years back, nobody knew what ESG is also. So, what brought you into ESG?
See, one thing leads to the other, I believe. you know, the whole career trajectory of mine was not planned. It's very, how do I put it, cliffs and plateaus sort of a situation when I was, initially a mechanical engineer. But then, yeah, the whole idea of transformation of, an economy like India to, the greener space, that is something which I came up with, let's just traject towards this, territory and let's just, explore, where all it takes. So I'll tell you, back when I started, there was no YouTube, right? There was no chat GPT, no, nothing. Everything was really paid and there were very few courses. Back then, LinkedIn was also not so profound. So it was all hands-on experience, and I think that has been the significant, the learning tool for me that, I was out there in the field, learning from people, actually engaging with a lot of stakeholders. I think this is something which has been the backbone, I would say, of my career, actual, meetings with people in person and understanding the ins and outs of business. Yeah.
Great. Thanks for the background and your start of the journey and where you are today. And that brings us to the topic of the conversation as well. That how has ESG evolved from Excel sheets to what it is today? Because you have seen the entire journey through it, right? I presume that pen and paper to Excel sheet to what it is today. So I'm curious on understanding how has the trajectory been for you to experience it first.
So, see, back when I started, there was, mastering Excel was, something which we all used to just look up to. Like, Excel, we always would just be like, we need to master everything in Excel. And that was the whole, training grounds for us, engineers. And, but it used to get really troublesome because those were really large files and we need to present that to our, CXO people. And, it often used to crash and, the data, I can't tell you how I can't describe in words the pain that I used to get back then. But then yeah, as time evolved, I mean we developed Power BI and then it's just glorified Excel. I would just say I don't really like it. But then yeah, visualization we always need that when we present to our CXO level people. But then with the advent of AI coming in post COVID, um, I think it has been a blessing in disguise. I mean, those lengthy sheets that we used to just, meticulously articulate day in and day out, and all for what? It would just crash one fine day, right? So yeah, I mean, I'm really happy that, this wave of AI has come and like now I'm like sat with a platform which is like, the leader, I would say, in AI space, and I'm really looking forward to all the capabilities which AI can bring to the sustainability and ESG field. To say the least, I mean, it was a much required change, and I call AI as the industrial revolution, of 2025, I would say. I mean, onwards and upwards from here, it's a revolution, and people should onboard this revolution because if you don't, I don't think so anybody can save you guys. So yeah.
So, uh, how have frameworks like GRI, TCFD, SASB changed ESG reporting needs as such?
Um, See, back when I would call those the old days. I mean, disclosures were something which were really, the buzzwords. I mean, people would not adhere to them, especially when I talk on the Indian context. I mean, companies were not that evolved in the ESG maturity space to just disclose everything. But then, yeah, as the pace picked up, I mean, the common people, I mean, the biggest stakeholders were getting, aware of the necessity of being ESG compliant. I mean, all those issues started emerging, and that is when the pressure from the institutions, the government institutions started coming in, and there were market sentiments that only rewarded green companies, right? So let alone be it TCFD, be it GRI, be it SASB, now BRSR, right? So these are the fundamental, process on why they came in and why are they required is just the enormous amount of pressure that is being put on. And if company is not keeping up to the pace, it is being, punished. It's very punitive in today's day and age to be non-compliant. I mean, everybody wants to be compliant, right? So yeah, this is the pressing need of the hour that companies want to be green. They want to be rewarded for having green initiatives, and it's just better for the environment, better for the people. So yeah, why not?
So, when you have hands-on experience working on most of the frameworks in the raw format with some tools and in advanced tools like Power BI and other softwares as well. So, just want to understand from you how difficult is it for uh, mapping the same ESG data across multiple frameworks? Is it very seamless or it's challenging as such?
Now that I am with you guys, I can just open up my heart and say that it's nothing called seamless. I mean, it's the rather opposite. Because I can tell you, it's not just one person who deals with it; it's the entire team. So we have a definite section wherein a lot of engineers, a lot of managers just sit in and brainstorm, and we work on a very tight timelines, right? And we have to meet those timelines because I mean when we talk about consulting space, right? I mean clients are on a really tight budget, if you say the least. But then more resources are poured in when it comes to mapping a lot of frameworks and a good company or a decent ESG maturity company would at least want to disclose like minimum of 3 to 4 disclosures. I'll just give you the pain points. First is the cost. Number of people that you deploy to just do those frameworks. I mean, it's the first is the cost. Second is the time. Time is a very valuable resource. I mean, supposedly if task gets done with AI in like 4 or 5 days at max. I mean, it would just take around 2 or 3 months for an assurance company
Manual.
or yeah, and I'm not naming them, but then yeah, it's just how it works, right? So yeah, so
And
speed,
do you have
budget.
specific people do you have specific people who understand one particular framework, or it's more of generalization? They know how each framework works, and the moment a client of yours come in and they say, I need X framework or Y framework, you just repetitively do the same task over and over again for the same client and the same data.
See, I'll tell you. Um, in ESG, sometimes the problem is that I know everything, but I cannot put it on paper. I mean, I have to like get approvals of a lot of people because each and every word of mine can impact, significantly. So supposedly I am the master of like, 4 or 5 frameworks, right? But then I need approval of a lot of people to just make it finalized, right? Because every word and every sentence, I mean, let alone it can just, make it or break it. So yeah, it's that kind of a situation, which, needless saying, it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of consultations, internal, consultations between, cross-functional teams. And this is the most, challenging task to just get everything right. And when it's done manually, it is bound to take time. Let
So
alone the
let's
research that goes behind it, not to mention, because the research that we used to do back then, scraping out internet, going manually searching the sustainability reports, analyzing, taking hours of just reading the reports and then taking the time to analyze it. I mean, AI is able to do that in like seconds. I mean, this is very it's very hard to believe, but then it is what it is, right?
correct. So, uh, How do you foresee the scope 3 emissions complexity? Has it gone beyond the Excel sheets today, or were you able to manage most of the scope 3 calculations on Excel sheets?
See, the problem with scope 3 calculation, I'll take you to the basics. The calculation needs data, and data with scope 3 is like, tremendous. I mean, when imagine a pie chart, it's like, the first two pieces are scope 1 and scope 2, and 70% of that pie is scope 3, right? So we need data for that. I mean, collecting data is the biggest challenge, and it was the biggest challenge. And in today's day and age, it still is, but then not to an extent what it was, 10, 12 years ago. And now coming back to your question, collecting data and then, yeah, calculations when it comes to scope 3, it is just exorbitant to see the amount of data that a company can have. I mean, let alone, let's take a bigger player, for example. I mean, 15 categories. I mean, it has tremendous amounts of databases, linked, and, all those parameters can flow in and, blow your mind. Excel will just not be able to cope up with the data that is increasing, day by day. I mean, if companies do not switch to this better infrastructure, which is I don't think so. They will ever be equipped to handle scope 3. I mean, they do need some sort of AI assistance in my experience. And I think it's like a wake up call to everybody. I think with the global revolution, I think Indian companies are really adopting the AI players. I mean, in the market, which is good.
Got it. How do you audit logs and anomaly detection while you manage it on Excel sheets? Is it possible to figure out who changed what or what edits were done? Is it seamless on Excel sheets, or do you
It's
feel you need a platform which has all the audit logs?
See, it was not a thing back then. I mean, audit logs, tracking, all that we could do was just see who logged in. And we would just see the Excel sheet and then we can just recover the document version. That's all about that we could do. And it would just not recover most of the times, to be very honest with you. We really needed, supposedly, if we are a team of like 15 people, and it's very important to see who did what, right? If a mistake happens, we need to understand who did what, right? And audit trail or audit tracking was a thing of, like non-existent back then. But then, yeah, uh, what I'm seeing is that today's platforms really enable this feature, and this is like a life-saving feature which we really need. And to summarize, it was not there back then.
So, moving forward from Excel sheets, so think of it like your system of records could be your ERPs of the world, HRMS, CRMs of the world. So, when you started using ESG platforms, is it something like it's already integrated, or the initial phase was to download the reports from system of records and upload it into ESG reports again via Excel sheets? Was that the process, or how do you manage it?
It was like, see, I'll tell you. So the best case scenario is putting in one, two, or three resources to do that. I mean, when I say resources, it's the manpower, right? So like one, two, or three guys would be, designated to this transfer the data from, the SAP or any ERP tool to the Excel sheet manually, and then they would transfer the data to the guys who would, visualize that data. So it's like, you just put in manual work and, just put in more resources. It's a shame that AI can do that in like 2 seconds or less. That's how revolution has, impacted.
So, where do you think the transition should lie? Is it more to do with first enforcing that nobody is going to use Excel sheets, you use a platform, or is it more to do with, okay, standardize the Excel sheets, bring the data into the Excel sheets, and then we'll think of integrations? What do you think is the right
I believe in
process?
positive reinforcement. I mean, there's a fundamental principle which, I'll give you an anecdote. Indian parents, they really want their kid to understand things, the way they want them to. But then, yeah, they should reinforce in a positive way. Similarly, now we want to transition to AI. We cannot just shut down Excel because mind you, Excel is very important. But then, yeah, we need to phase out of it, right? It needs to be very gradual. It needs to be very incremental and not abrupt. So yeah, just give them the taste of AI. I mean, just give them the better version of their life. Save them few hours, save them few dollars or rupees, right? And they would really want to adopt to this, transition. Why would they don't not want to do that? I mean, this is my question. Anyone who wants excellence would, radiate towards, AI and, all the benefits that it has to offer. Simply, nobody would want to cling on to Excel or any other tool that is, being phased out.
Okay. So, what is the importance of bringing in IT, finance, operations early in the ESG tech projects as such? Is it going to help you out as a stakeholder management, or is it going to be slowing things down?
So I want to understand this question of yours more elaboratively. I mean, the context of bringing those stakeholders into an ESG platform, or like I want to understand the
If you are implementing some ESG platform at a company, is it good to involve your IT, finance, operations early in the project phase, or at a later stage where the ESG team is convinced? What do you think would be the right?
So I believe that internal meetings and wherein they discuss that this is the need of the hour. I mean, they jot down the points that we need upgradation. Now it needs a whole software update or maybe a hardware update. And this is our company strategy that we need players in the market that are, doing this more efficiently, right? So yeah, involving them in a very early stage, not early, but preliminary stage is the right approach because they should not come as a shock to them that, this step was taken without them. I think early involvement, it eases that, friction that can
Resistance.
possibly be there.
Great. So, what would be the final advice? What you would want to leave the viewers with a thought for themselves? Where do they start, and how can they uh, start their journey from migration from a Excel sheet to any technology?
See, those needless saying people who are, doing Excel and it's still good. I'm not, demeaning people who just do that, but I just want you guys to understand the brighter side of, technology. And as I just said, it's a riding wave. I mean, just ride on the wave and realize the good side of life. And if you can save your time, you can save your efforts, you can save your money. I mean, and you can utilize those hours saved into other better things. And my only advice is that I mean, we should be very ever ready on our feet in the AC space. A new regulation comes in, a new law comes in, a new stakeholder comes in, and the game's changed, right? I mean, but then, yeah, why not with the technology front? Why not with the AI players in the market? Why not adopt them sooner than later, right? We have all seen the phases. I'll just take few minutes to explain on how what am I trying to say. When we in India were not ready for 5G, right? We were not anticipating the revolution which those 5G cables or lines underground the oceans would do. But then boom, in 2016 this has happened and a lot of players vanished from the market overnight, right?
Correct.
A lot of influencers were born. I mean, it created a whole ecosystem of money pouring in India, right? And I'm anticipating AI players are those revolution that you know that will empower all of those businesses that are thriving and will want to improve their sustainability reporting. I mean, why not? Yeah. So,
Okay. Thanks a lot for your time and really appreciate that. And would like to have you on our forthcoming podcast as well. And really, it's a journey what you showed a lot of us how it was prior to Excel sheets, during Excel sheets, and what could be the ideal scenario beyond Excel sheets as well in
definitely.
ESG. Thanks a
Thank
lot,
you,
and
Abhimanyu, and
okay,
yeah, I've been following you guys since quite long now, and it's really a pleasure to be here. And I know I would be exciting, I would be really excited to meet, a lot more members on your team. And if possible, we can, have more of these sessions. It's like a pleasure.
sure.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.